I think our attitude's been awesome, okay? I think with all crap going on, you guys walking out here every day with a great attitude.
Hell to Pitt, baby, tune in, hell to Pitt.
I'm happy where we are today. We'll keep pounding away, continue to get better.
Welcome back to Pitt Beyond the Script. I'm Rob King with AT&T Sportsnet. Very happy to be joined by Pat Bostick to break down some things going on with the Panthers and to look forward to their first game against Austin Peay. Pat, coming off of this camp, you went through many camps as a player, but never one like this. Is it time for these guys to get going? What's this process been like leading up to this first game?
It's been like nothing they've ever experienced, I can tell you that. I mean, obviously the testing protocol, everything they do throughout the facility was different. You just have to be mindful, obviously, of the pandemic and being smart, maintaining social distance, wearing the masks, and then do the normal things differently. Shower, rest between practice and meetings, eat, all those things were taken into account. I give the staff a lot of credit, a lot of thought by Chris LaSala and John Ford, who handle operations, into how they were going to manage 110 guys plus 30 staff members, for 8-9 hours a day throughout the camp. And then, you at some point during camp, you're always looking ahead to that first game. For a while there, you didn't know what that was going to look like. When are you going to play? Are you going to play September 12th? Are you going to play September 19th? Are you going to play at all? And having that carrot at the end of the stick is critical to get through those dog days of training camp. And finally we're in game week and you have something to look forward to. Obviously there's hurdles this week to get through. 3 times a week you're getting tested. So you got to clear those hurdles, but once Saturday comes, these guys are going to have a lot of pent-up energy.
We've seen players throughout the country opting out. Jalen Twyman did that for Pitt. Defensive line was supposed to be a strength. Will it still be a strength without Jalen Twyman?
It's a strength. Charlie Partridge has done a great job recruiting that position. Pat Narduzzi's defense is built around that defensive line, and they've got depth there. They've got 2 or 3 guys at every spot. Obviously, you lose an All-American like Jalen Twyman. You're going to miss that production, but you return guys like Rashad Weaver and Keyshawn Camp. That's a 2-for-1, that you didn't expect to have. You could have lost all 3 of them to the draft last year if they were all healthy. You're always going to have to replace production. Obviously, Jalen made a decision for his family and for himself to forego this season and look towards the NFL. I'm happy for him. That's the right decision for him. But these guys behind him are now having their opportunity, like a Deslin Alexander did last year, to step up, and I expect they will. There's plenty of guys that can fill that void.
One of the strengths on the Panthers defense, in addition to that defensive line in the back end, you have Paris Ford, you have DeMar Hamlin. How about in between? The corners, the linebackers, how's the rest of that defense going to shape up?
Yeah, you got veterans, Rob, at safety and on the defensive line. You lack a little bit of veteran presence at corner. You got Jason Pinnock. Obviously, you lost Amari Mathis to injury, but Marquez Williams, A.J. Woods are ready to go. They're young guys that are having their chance now to be in that starting 11. And at linebacker, you got 2 guys that played a lot of football that I think people forget about in Cam Bright and Phil Campbell that are, one's a converted safety in Campbell that can play to the field. He can blitz very well. Cam Bright played a lot of football last year opposite Kylan Johnson and is a fast, physical, explosive player. The guy in the middle is really what you're replacing the most experience with. When you look at 2 guys really on defense have the most experience in Dane Jackson and Salim Brightwell. You're replacing Dane Jackson kind of by committee. You got to have one guy man in the middle of that defense. He's the quarterback of the defense, and they're going to turn to Wendell Davis, who won that position in camp, and he's had a terrific training camp, been healthy, and has done a good job getting guys lined up and ready to go.
Few question that the Panthers defense will be a strength. Kenny Pickett now in his second year with Mark Whipple. What do you expect to see from him? What did you see from him in camp? Can this offense, which marched up and down the field but had trouble sometimes scoring points, put more points on the board?
They have to. I mean, I think this season's trajectory hinges on this offense's ability to light that scoreboard up. They're going to have opportunities. That defense is going to get them the ball back. I think 2 things are critical. One, got to be able to run the football more effectively. They got a veteran offensive line, really spearheaded by Jimmy Morrissey up front. They got plenty of tailback options beyond A.J. Davis and Vincent Davis. You got Sibley, Daniel Carter, obviously Vince Davis. Plenty of guys in that backfield that can shore up the run game to give them balance. And then I think another part of that run game is Kenny Pickett. I mean, in games where he's run the football, you look back to North Carolina last year, he had a rushing touchdown. Those are games where that really frees him up. Some of his best statistical days are where he's a part of the run game. So I think that's critical. And obviously having a tight end in the red zone is something that can change the whole preparation scheme for a defense, because the middle of the field becomes a real threat now. It's not just one-on-one on the outside. And I really believe, Lucas Kroll, graduate transfer from Florida. They're going to lean on him to be kind of an X factor, not only inside, but what you see with the Travis Kelce, in the NFL, lining him up by himself, a Gronkowski. You hate to make comparisons, but when you start to do those things, you start to get matchups elsewhere on the field that can be problematic for a defense and add layers to what you're preparing for in this Pitt offense.
You and I talked off camera earlier in the week about, look, it's nice to have the coaching staff provide leadership, but you have to have it within the room. What do you think about the leadership on this team and the group of captains?
When you combine the senior group with the ability they've had to have 4 years in Pat Narduzzi's program, and you look back to 2016 and James Conner and Nathan Peterman, and those guys were as good as it gets, but they were only with Pat Narduzzi for 1 season prior to that. This group knows the culture. They set the culture. I think this is the best senior group they've had. And when you look at the captains, and Morrissey's a 2-time captain, former walk-on. Kenny Pickett earned his role as a starting quarterback 2 years ago, waited his turn to be a captain. He's proved it on the field. Damar Hamlin, quiet, confident, played a lot of football. And then obviously Patrick Jones was really the breakout player last year. They set the tone, but really beyond that, you've got a bunch of seniors like Rashad Weaver and Keyshawn Camp that they want to leave their mark on this program. They want to turn the corner. They're going to have that chance, and the only way you turn the corner and get those 9-10 win seasons is if your senior leaders are the ones driving the ship.
How about a quick look at Austin Peay?
You know what? They're talented. They're explosive. They're looking for an opportunity to come up here and make a mark. They're playing 3 games guaranteed on their schedule this year. Obviously, they open up with Central Arkansas. They play Pitt, and they play Cincinnati. Then I believe FCS goes to the spring. So they're going to play a game on television against a team they're not supposed to beat. They're going to throw everything but the kitchen sink on this field. They opened up against Central Arkansas with a triple option play for a touchdown. I expect to see more wrinkles in this game. They got a veteran quarterback in Oatsvall. They got an All-American receiver in D'Angelo Wilson, who didn't play in the opener, who will definitely make a difference in this football game should he be healthy. And on defense, I expect them to see him coming after Kenny Pickett and trying to disrupt things, because physically, Pitt should be able to handle them on both sides of the ball. But when you throw that unexpected nature of an opening game with a team that's got nothing to lose, sometimes weird things happen.
It's a game week. Pat, thanks very much. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Rob.
All right, stick around. Up next, we sit down with the outstanding senior safety, Damar Hamlin. That's up next on Pitt Beyond the Script.
ACC Caps on 3, 1, 2, 3, ACC Caps!